Welcome back. This is Urban at 9.
Well, now President Museveni has asked parents to involve their children in their businesses for future investment.
The president was opening Kampala's newest shopping center, the Akasha Mall in Kamocha.
Welcomed by the Mukwano family at 11 a.m. this morning, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni arrived in Kamocha to officially open the family's new mall. The president called upon Ugandans to emulate the hard-working individuals for the development of the country.
He started all the soap manufacturing. I don't know how much he's producing now. Now later, when he had started being growing, expanding, I asked him, I said, what was your total production value in 1986? He told me it had been $10 million. Now today when I was sitting there, I asked the young man, Arikan Karamani, the total turnover of their group is now $500 million. There is a lot of wealth here in Uganda, but you must have the spectacles to see the wealth.
President Museveni advised parents not to neglect children while doing businesses if family growth is to be sustained.
He started off as, I think, a tanner boy in Bukandra, yes. The tanner boy in Ugomba, my place there. Now, therefore, those lazy people, you know, the Ugandans specialize in laziness. Drinking alcohol, and all sorts of indiscipline. Here before you, this is the latest of the contribution by these people. These serious Ugandans.
Managing Director Alikan Kamali said he has been able to invest in Uganda because of the prevailing security.
As an individual, encouraged as an investor, and extremely proud to be Uganda. We are here to recognize what we believe is a nationally symbolic landmark in Uganda's transformation into a modern society. Ladies and gentlemen, the development that we're all gathered on here today, and I hope you're enjoying, started with only one mission.
The commercial building Acacia Mall targets a population of over 10,000 customers.
Well, I think the country is developing. Now, an American scholar, Imam Muhammad, has asked Muslims in Uganda to work towards the change of the gender perception about Muslims worldwide. Imam Muhammad says some bad elements have used Islam to carry out terrorist attacks which has tainted the image of the region. He advised the Muslims to work with other religions to wipe out the extremists. Imam Bashar was addressing Muslims from different civil societies in Waise, a Kampala suburb. This was during the meeting organized by Muslim Center for Justice and Law under the theme, the role of the civil society in nation building. He also encouraged the Muslims to embrace formal education such that they get jobs in the formal sector, that could change the perception about them.
Now moving on, refugees in Kampala have asked government to consider them such that they can access the basic necessities of life at cheaper prices. The refugees say they find it very expensive to get shelter, access health facilities and day-to-day commodities, yet they do not have the money. Now they made the call today during the celebrations of the International World Refugee Day at the Nachimbo Stadium here in Kampala.
This year's main celebrations took place in eastern Uganda at Changwali Refugee Settlement Camp. Uganda is home to about 400,000 refugees from different neighboring countries, including Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, South Sudan, Somalia, Eritrea, Rwanda, among others. Here in Kampala, the refugees decried the high cost of living. The Deputy Refugee Coordinator for the U.S. Embassy, Craig Heibmeiler, revealed that they will continue funding the refugees.
We hope one day the refugees would be able to go home in peace, in dignity, and so we will continue to work for that. I know many of the singers here today have also sought that or asked for that.
This year's Refugee Day in Uganda focuses on youth refugees under the theme, Refugee Youth, Tomorrow's Leaders. The youth comprise 31% of the refugee population in the country.
Now welcome to the Slum Report. This news features is dedicated to befuddling the lives of Uganda's urban poor as contrast to the wealth and opportunities of those more fortunate. Now it is set mostly in Kampala, the capital. Now with 62 slums and hundreds of families living in them, Kampala is definitely Uganda's most unequal society. As we have found out, however, life in the slums is not a single story of poor versus rich. Sometimes it is in fact a journey of rags to riches. Someone who sees a vision of change in the daily life of the slum is artist Arthur Conrad Chisitu. This is not only because he lives in the slum himself when he is not traveling around the world. He is translating his own tale of two dwellings into hope for his neighbors. Victoria Namatebi caught up with him at his home in Katanga.
A business graduate from Makerere University, a professional artist with an uptown sense of style. He's traveled nations. If not in Berlin, he's in Uganda. But surprisingly, he chooses to reside in one of Kampala's most popular slums, Katanga slum. So for this week's Slum Report, we sought to find out why, of all places, Katanga slum. The leading lights of Mr. Chisitu's story are his neighbors like Mr. Sekabira. Once upon a time, he was something else. Now a brickmaker and landlord in Katanga, he sees his life differently.
Katanga is one of the places where I came to identify young people who are doing things that are often despised, like brickmaking, car washing, recycling. And some of these people didn't study much, but I was inspired by how they were able to live a responsible life while earning so little.
Another is Michael Jackson Mugema. Named after the king of pop, he once thought his dreams of getting on top of the world are out of the slums ended when he could not go to university. Much of that has now changed after he met the artist.
When
I came here, I started with a lot of energy and made many bricks. As Arthur was passing by with a white friend, he came to take pictures of my bricks, and since then, the two became my good friends.
Mugema is something of an entrepreneur. He has crafted a life from the refuse of the city and the slum.
A lot of rubbish is dumped here. We reuse it. Just like these polythene bags, I used to roof my house.
It is from these activities that Mugema is able to take care of his wife and kids.
We also use the dumped soil to make bricks. We separate the rubbish from the sand and sell the sand, and also heat the stones that come with the rubbish to make concrete stones and sell them for a living.
From his first batch of bricks, Mugema was able to construct a humble shelter where he resides with his dependents.
The first batch of bricks are the ones I used to build my house.
Sigamba nti yabiveera ya mataffaali amataffaali ge nasooka okkuba gaago ne nzimbamu ennyumba.
Then I brought my wife and we started our life here.
Mugema's spirit is not dampened by the life he leads. He sees light at the end of the tunnel. That is because he is the one digging himself towards a brighter future and out of that tunnel eventually, one day.
Era myaka 5 nange nja kubanga ndi ku map ya Uganda mulinnya erya Yesu.
Mugema says he has a great singing potential too. He looks up to Ronald Mayinja and Dr. Jose Chameleon as his role models.
Muyimbi wange abayimbi bali babiri naye nsinga kwagala Ronald Mayinja.
I look up to Ronald Mayinja, and whenever I do my songs, I try to sing like him.
Aleetera oluyimba we lujjira era ne lukwatayo. Nange kyenva mwagala era nange njagala okuba mu kiti ekyo ekya Ronald Mayinja. Owookubiri ye Jose Chameleon.
The other artist I love is Dr. Jose Chameleon.
Uganda, East Africa, n'ebirala.
He believes that in the near future, he will be East Africa's singing sensation. Perhaps he will. Like many of the people we have met during this Slum Report, the future is literally in their hands. For Arthur Conrad Chisitu, living next to these stories is a worthwhile choice. For most of us, the slums of Kampala and their inhabitants are places we drive by. Slum dwellers are people we have left to the government.
I know that the West has been donating to Africa for many years with the assumption that Africans are helpless. But I think we need a new mindset going forward. We need to empower young people, not only by giving them money when we can afford to give them the money, but also to help them realize that the dreams they have can actually be actualized.
Well, that was a very powerful slum report over there. Thank you very much, Victoria, for giving us that insight into what exactly happens in the slums, especially Katanga.
I was actually challenged by Arthur Conrad Chisitu. He chooses to live in the slum, but he has an uptown sense of life.
I actually know him a few years back, maybe 5 or so. I took a couple of photographs in his studio, and now I'm just watching him here. It's beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to take a short break, but when we return,
we'll be giving you more local stories, so stay with us.
This is Urban TV.